say in Creole. So we learned little by little in 2025, and then once he fully transitioned from his last role, he was able, we got the shop and we were able to launch
Okay.
full on. And so yeah, but that car key programming is big because there are no they're now we're having some more auto dealers, but they're mostly international vehicles. And so every vehicle here, you have to understand, is imported. And so these brands like Toyota, whatever, Ford, uh, Peugeot, they don't have offices here. And so in order to get, if you import your car, you have to import any parts, you have to import any keys. And so for us to be a supplier or distributor for that in country is a big deal.
Yeah, because what I understood you all said that when those used cars come in there, they only come with one key. So if you lose it, you're in trouble there. Yeah.
Yes, and I don't the now people who call and say my car's been parked 3 months, 6 months because of something, they lost the key or something happened, and we literally have to go and like pull the door apart, to duplicate their key. But we get a lot of those calls just because people only have one key.
Yeah. Yeah. So and so yeah. So like, what are the different customer segments you all are serving with that?
Um, I, I don't know how to generalize our customer segment. So, just on the key business, it's just anyone who has. It's not even anyone who has a car because we get a lot of office keys. We get a lot. People just come in and duplicate an office key or a safe key or anything like that. And so the range is large. But
Yeah.
what we found is not just in the key business, but also in the cameras and security side is that now the government people are coming in, right? So it's not just B2B, which is kind of more so what we were expecting, or B2C, was what business to customer is what we were expecting. Now it's really become B2B. We really are starting to see that distributor side come up like, no, we need to supply these people so they can supply their business areas.
Yeah. So let's shift gears to your consulting business. So what's going on there at LNT? What's going on there while you're over in Africa?
Yeah, so I have one client that's holding on, but I'm just doing the marketing consulting. So I really, during this time that I've been in the States, I'm trying to take the time to see where I want to extend the next business line for LNT Commerce Group. And see if, what other revenue I can pick up outside of just picking up another client, right? I think there's ways I can package what my expertise to
Okay.
offer here in the States. And so that's what I'm focusing on as the next phase at LNT Commerce Group.
Yeah. So if folks out in the audience, do you have any questions for Nally or for about your startup or anything? We can answer those. Do you got any marketing questions, email marketing questions, anything like that? So where does all your expertise lie in the email marketing part of everything?
Well, like I mentioned before, I can code the emails, which we don't have to spend so much time on that anymore. But I can code the emails and then also understand the processes and the platforms behind it. So I know a lot of different email service providers when I worked at the agency, and then also just with the different clients I've worked with
Yeah.
since. I've been on a lot of different platforms and understand the process of managing and the new regulations that we need to follow in email marketing as well.
Yeah. So yeah, and I remember when you were working for the commercial real estate company. I think somebody said they had the in the top 5 largest Salesforce installation in the world. So that's like a pretty big deal working with a company that's got the largest installation, one of the largest, 5 largest installations for Salesforce.
Yeah,
So
and I think that it was also the depth of use too. I think the utilization of all the tools that Salesforce provide, we were one of the top.
mhm.
So yeah, it's a really neat experience, but also a lot of pressure to manage it correctly.
Yeah, yeah. So you got a question: the cost of getting a startup in West Africa Is it expensive?
It depends on the business you want to do. You can incorporate a business in most places, fairly reasonable, not more than you would spend here, 200, $300. And then from there, it's what kind of business you want to run and how you want to run it. And so I've seen people come in and invest a lot of money, way more than what we had, me, my husband and I had to start in the beginning. And they're doing, they've got all kinds of things running. And then you can come and you can just leverage your own credit. And I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she wants to start a KK fleet. So she wants to hire drivers and buy the KKs and just have her, run around and pay them back, right? So it's a part of helping them develop as well as her to have some revenue while she lives there. So, and that's a simple entry. She's just leveraging her own credit to do that. So there's all kinds of ways to actually get in and start.
Yes. So yeah, that's a wide range of things you've been involved in, and I want to do a little experiment here, just to kind of help people understand how you can take all your career stuff and actually turn it into a scalable startup business. So I don't know if you actually have a chance to look at the video that in there, but I want to shorten now. It's a little long, but I think the point is if everybody out there listening or watching is, you have some unique experience, and so the question is how and about problems in the industry you're in. You got that expertise, so how can you make money from that expertise in a scalable way? So I'm gonna, even though it's a little long, I'm gonna go ahead and show it. But after we come back, I want you to share any key takeaways that you recommend for people with the email marketing in their startup, because I don't know if startup founders or who knows when you should be doing email marketing and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll close out after that. So looks like we got a question from Tony here. Learn how to sell your knowledge. That's exactly what this is going to be about. Okay, so you all listening on this, and it's what we've been trying to say over the past few months is how do you turn your expertise into a scalable AI native startup.
Welcome to this explainer. Today we're doing something really cool. We are diving deep into a fascinating career deconstruction to uncover the architecture of a true business systems builder. We're going to look at the professional journey of Nathalie Richard Montserrat, and we'll explore exactly how she built a highly leveraged operating system.
So let me ask you right off the bat, are you an inventor or are you an integrator? Getting to the bottom of this difference is absolutely crucial. It is the key to unlocking massive enterprise value. We always tend to obsess over the idea people, the inventors, right? But today we're focusing on the engine that actually makes those wild ideas a reality. If you've ever found yourself wondering why some great ideas scale perfectly while others just totally fizzle out, this distinction right here is usually the answer.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. First, the identity mismatch. Second, the hidden operating pattern. Third, the integrator founder archetype. Fourth, analyzing the three models. And finally, the integrated architecture. Let's get into it.
The identity mismatch and the danger of having way too many labels. We're starting with a super common problem that a lot of highly talented professionals face, and that's confusing the market with too many totally valid identities. Just think about it. Marketing expert, project manager, security company owner, international basketball coach, operations consultant. If you saw someone jump between all those, you'd probably think you were looking at 5 different resumes mixed up at a dinner party. It feels scattered, and when you're good at a lot of things, it can actually work against you if you don't frame it right. But, as we'll see, that scattered feeling, it's just an illusion.
And that brings us to our first real clue as to why Nathalie is a true integrator. She hasn't just been bouncing around between random industries. For the last 15 years, she's been building this incredible capability stack, like a master set of tools. An integrator doesn't just learn one highly specific skill. They master the entire convergence of people, process, technology, execution, and growth. That stacked combination, That is the highly valuable asset she brings to the table. Section 2. The hidden operating pattern. Let's extract that master framework. So, instead of looking at her career like a boring chronological list of jobs, we can group it into these 5 distinct eras of capability accumulation. Notice how they all feed directly into one another. Era 1 in sports gave her the absolute foundation of performance leadership. She took that straight into Era 2, driving digital execution through complex campaigns, which naturally demanded a step up into Era 3, building the actual marketing systems and automation to handle that load. That technical fluency set her up perfectly for Era 4, managing enterprise operations and major change management, which finally culminated in Era 5, stepping fully into global entrepreneurship. Every single era compounded. It's like stacking the exact foundational blocks needed to become a modern integrator founder.
And through all of that, from managing literally millions of emails at IMG Academy to running international sporting events, a core, totally reusable pattern emerges. An integrator basically takes pure chaos and runs it through this exact 6-step machine. First, they diagnose the bottleneck. Second, structure the environment. Third, coordinate the resources. Fourth, automate the repetitive stuff. Fifth, measure the output. And finally, scale the whole system. Think about the friction in your own business right now. This is the exact blueprint used to tame it, no matter the industry. All right, Section 3, the Integrator Founder Archetype. This is all about converting vision into reality.
This is the core of what we're talking about today, and exactly why Natalie embodies this archetype perfectly. Look at this contrast. The inventor founder says, hey, I have a great idea, but the integrator founder says, I can assemble the people, the technology, and the processes into a functioning business. While the inventor's in the clouds dreaming up the vision, the integrator is the rare engine actually building the factory on the ground to produce it. We see it all the time. Founders with an amazing product but literally no idea how to build the systems required to scale it. And that's where this unfair advantage stack comes in. Her real superpower isn't any one single slice here. It's the incredibly rare ability to execute across all these complex domains at the same time. Because she has this specific stack, she operates as a business technology translator. She can sit in a boardroom, hash out a high-level growth strategy with executives, and then walk right down the hall and translate that perfectly into the specs software developers need to actually write the code. That bridging capability, that is the hallmark of a true integrator. Section 4. Analyzing the 3 models. Where exactly do you deploy all this capital?
Okay, so you have all this accumulated human capital. Where does an integrator founder deploy it to get the most economic leverage? Looking at her ventures, we see 3 models. First, L&T Commerce, a tech commerce and AI automation agency. Second, Chapter 2 Commerce, which handles local ops and deployment in the African market. And third, her high-level fractional COO advisory work. The data reveals a really fascinating split. L&T and the fractional COO work are amazing immediate monetization engines, scoring 9.5 and 9.4. But Chapter 2? That holds the highest long-term enterprise building potential at 9.1. It's a strategic puzzle. Which lever do you pull first when you actually have the skills to run all 3?
But this leads us to a huge risk for something like Chapter 2, and that's conglomerate drift. Because an integrator founder is just so inherently capable of fixing almost anything, the ultimate temptation is to say yes to every single client request. Doing whatever a customer needs, installing CCTV today, management consulting tomorrow, IT next week. Sure, it generates quick revenue, but it does absolutely nothing to build scalable enterprise value. This service sprawl is the exact trap an integrator has to consciously avoid by narrowing in on the one specific operating problem they uniquely solve.
Now, for L&T Commerce, avoiding commoditization means asking a much deeper question. Basic marketing automation is eventually going to be eaten by AI. We all know that. So the question isn't what AI tool do we buy? The real question is, where should AI actually sit inside the workflow? The true value for an integrator founder doesn't lie in the software itself. It's in being the architect of the underlying business system that the AI actually operates in. Because of her background, Natalie is perfectly positioned to look at a clunky, manual workflow, spot the friction, and completely re-architect a highly efficient AI-native version. Check out this shift. Instead of a manual pipeline where a lead just sits in a CRM waiting for someone to type up an email, she designs a flow where the lead comes in, an AI agent instantly qualifies them, enriches the CRM data automatically, and executes the follow-up. She doesn't need to be the software engineer writing the AI code. She just needs to be the master integrator, seamlessly connecting the data, the workflow, and the tech to multiply human output.
Finally, Section 5, the integrated architecture. Let's build the operator OS.
Let's explore how we pull all of these totally separate models into one unified powerhouse. The biggest takeaway here is that a mature integrator founder doesn't actually need to choose just one path. They build an ecosystem where the parts reinforce each other. These three models aren't competitors. They form a compounding value chain. Each business solves a different problem at a completely different scale, and together they create this highly coherent, defensible founder architecture.
Here is that master architecture in action, stacking her three ventures. Imagine a founder comes to her with a major scaling problem. First, she uses the advisory layer, her fractional COO work, to diagnose the bottlenecks at the top. Second, she uses the technology layer, L&T Commerce, to build and implement the CRM and AI tools in the middle. And third, she leverages the deployment layer, Chapter 2, to execute the physical operations on the ground at the bottom. Diagnose, build, execute. It's perfectly integrated.
So to actually execute this massive shift, here is the exact operational roadmap to transition from selling her personal time to selling a repeatable system. First 30 days, unify her identity around being a business systems builder. By day 90, productize those audits and operating system builds to get away from generic consulting. At 180 days, focus heavily on generating hard evidence and case studies. And by 12 months, the ultimate goal, systematize templates and AI agents. In just a year, she goes from Natalie does the work to Natalie's system does the work. And when you unite all of those layers into one cohesive system, boom, the combined strategic value score skyrockets to an incredible 9.6 out of 10. That's not just a made-up number, it represents the massive multiplier effect of her unified skills, because every single component of her background now solves a different, highly valuable problem for growth stage businesses. Her overall enterprise value compounds exponentially.
I turn founder-led companies into operationally disciplined organizations. That word right there, disciplined, is everything. This is the ultimate economic proposition of the integrator founder. It's moving from just doing operational tasks to owning the actual infrastructure that makes work possible. This is the exact structure that an integrator brings to a visionary founder's chaos. It transforms the entire operational DNA of a company.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder. Could Natalie's operating methodology actually be codified into an operator OS to help founders everywhere operationalize their visions? Seriously, if we can codify exactly how an integrator builds a business from the ground up, just think about how much friction we could eliminate for the next generation of startups. It's not just about one person's career anymore. It is about reverse engineering the absolute blueprint for operational success. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and I will see you on the next explainer.
Okay. So what do you think, Natalie? Is that a plan for you or not?
That's pretty neat. I've watched so many of these startup in the blocks, and you do this with everyone that comes on to push them to the next step. So I do know. I definitely it's reading the room well. So
Yeah, yeah. But like I think so letting AI kind of like analyze your career and then sort of suggest some ways that you could capitalize on all that knowledge. I think that's a really neat thing. Yeah, but
I think that last slide here, the last quote it showed really said it.
okay, good.
That operational knowledge, that operational discipline, I think, is where I see people struggle and administratively with their businesses. And I do think maybe there's already something in Replit in the works.
Well, you got a lot of choices there, and moving forward. But I think to me the most important thing is that leveraging AI to take your knowledge and turn it into software, and so you can actually scale that knowledge and make money transition from you physically doing the work to the platform doing the work based on your knowledge and expertise. And to me, that's what the startup world is. It's all about whatever niche folks work in, they create products in those niches because they understand them well, to kind of move forward. And just so based on all the knowledge and stuff. We've been, working with founders, and my Lanika system. In this case, Lanika's listening. My Lanika system.
You just use her name all up and down the street.
Yeah, basically, it analyzed, and so just folks, so you understand, I downloaded her LinkedIn profile and used my personalized Lanika system to analyze her profile, and then that extracts all the patterns out of her profile and suggests what to do next, and so that's what that video is based on. So Natalie, and it's kind of wrapping up here. So I guess I remember when we started the Pensacola Network, you developed an email newsletter for us, but we didn't actually analyze all that stuff like we probably should have been doing. But when and what do you recommend as far as a startup, or what stage do you recommend this email marketing strategy for generating leads?
I think this is the new business model. We talk about validation and making sure that there's a problem that needs to be solved and asking around. But this is the new business model, community building. You have sites like Gumroad, where the whole thing is based on the subscribers that come to your page and follow you, right? You have Substack. It's all about subscribers who come and follow you. And so the answer is immediately. I think if you don't start reaching out to the customers and again, then you lose out on a repeat sale or a word of mouth or through that consumer base that knows or that has had hopefully a positive experience with your brand or your company. And so I always tell this story about Tyler Perry and how he got started. We know who Tyler Perry is now, got a whole studio in Atlanta, billionaire, but he literally started by building email lists. He would go around the chitlin circuit, if you will, of the South of America and do these little theater plays. And every place he would stop, he would, gather everyone's email and he'd send a little newsletter. And before he ever made one of his big productions, he had over 400,000 emails that he had in his database consistently. And so these people have been with him 10 years before he actually did something at scale. And so it shows if you build that consumer base, you'll always be successful. If it was 500,000 people already knew about Tyler Perry. And before that first movie came out, I remember the first time I saw one of his movies, it was one of those little DVDs, hand package.
Okay.
and so he was able to capitalize just because he already had a network that was so incredibly large by his small efforts of just going to different churches and putting on a play.
Okay, all right. So before we wrap up here, anybody got any last minute questions for Natalie? How do they get a hold of you, Natalie? You want to post your LinkedIn profile or email or something? So
so I'm on LinkedIn. That's Natalie Richard because you can't change your URL. So I'm on LinkedIn as Natalie Richard. But you can find me on platforms for the most part: Facebook, Instagram. I don't really do TikTok, but you can go to my website, lntcommerce.com or chapter2.sl. We have a website for both companies. And reach out to me at my email at ask.natalierichard.com as well.
Okay, all righty. So those are some ways to get a hold to Natalie. All righty. Anything else you want to share before we get off here?
Yeah, I would say, your network is your net worth. I think I've met beautiful people, and even though I may not have and be the angel investor to take them to the next level that they want to get to immediately, I absolutely have someone in my network that can help you. And I remember about a book we read in grad school, The Power of Who is not about what you know, but more so who you know, and how to interact with those, how you interact with those relationships. And so you never know who you've met along the way, who in your network can be of help. And so if you connect with me on LinkedIn, you see someone that like, hey, I really need to talk to this person, reach out, I'll make a introduction, get you maybe to the next step.
Hey, Natalie, could you paste your email address into the private chat so I can paste it so it'll go to all the different YouTubes and
Yes.
everywhere? Yeah. All righty. Yeah. So that network is pretty important. Yeah, definitely make sure you hear about that. And folks remember from last week, Robert Eldor working with FAIU, definitely. He's got some interns that can work for you for a couple of months, 20 hours a week that they actually pay for. And so, that's pretty neat. I already got about 3 projects for them. So yeah, so we definitely it's that paste that back in the wrong place. Let's see, can I get it out here? Yes, but yeah, so yeah, just take advantage of these resources that are out there to help you keep moving forward. And remember, like just reach out if you want to join our Founders Insight program. And so we can provide you with some AI resources and some mentoring to kind of help you move forward. So just be aware of that. Don't hesitate. So we were in networking, and so I'm going to try to figure out a way to simplify the instructions so people make it easier for people to follow the instructions. Because once you join a program, I'm going to give you some step-by-step instructions, and so the only way what we have is going to help you if you follow the step-by-step instructions. And I can't say how important it is. There's literally no reason to wait to do anything. Just do what the instructions said. If you got questions about how to do it, just reach out. And so that's so important. We've been working with directly with founders through our program for the last 6 years. But before that, I've been, coaching founders, since I retired from the government and after I started learning about the ecosystem. And so, but it's real important to follow the instructions, because you miss out on opportunity when you don't follow an instruction. But I'll try to figure out a way to streamline the instructions so that won't be difficult to follow. All right. Thank you, Natalie. Thank everybody out there. We really appreciate you all, and we appreciate the participation. And thanks a million. We'll be back next Thursday, and with some more information to share. And I will definitely be able to devote a little bit more time to the founders I've been working with. 18 students and another 4 on the job training folks. So it's literally exhausted all my mental power. So maybe I'll get some back and can do some more with the founders. But it's always fun, and I learned so much from working with founders, working with students, and it's just helped my journey quite a bit to move forward. And definitely glad to be able to participate. All right, see you all next week.